3, 2, 1.
Okay, so the book I am going to read next is The Mercies by Kieran Millward Hargrave. It's an absolutely beautiful cover. I'm a big fan of her children's fiction. I think she's one of the best mid-grade picks between Ursula Le Guin and Neil Gaiman, and she's fantastic. Really interested in European and British folklore, and it's based on a real-life witch trial. So really, really looking forward to find out, to reading that and finding out a bit more.
Fab. Over to Vicky.
Vicky, this is me. My next book to read is a new Tracy Chevalier book called A Single Thread. I absolutely love Tracy Chevalier books. I've read all of her books. They're all very historical, which is my favourite theme, all set around a central character who you really get to know. And her 3 previous books that you probably have heard of is The Girl with the Pearl Earring, which was made into a film, of course, and The Edge of the Orchard, which is also an amazing book. She researches them meticulously, and the detail is absolutely incredible. And I'm really looking forward to reading this book next.
Helen?
Just getting my book, sorry. My book, which I will be reading on RB Digital, is the Mirror and the Lid sequel in the trilogy. I'm sure most of you have read Wolf Hall and Bring Up the Bodies. I love Tudor history, so for me it's really interesting to see the world through Thomas. We pick up where we left off in the spring of 1536 when Anne Boleyn had been beheaded. So quite excited to carry on and read this. I do like Hilary Mantel. She is, and I just like her historical accuracy, I have to say. So looking forward to reading that. A big one.
Saloni.
Right, so the book I want to read next is this one, which is the Not Saying Goodbye, which is the latest Erast van Doren thriller, biographical thriller with a detective, Erast van Doren, he's like a cross between Sherlock Holmes and Hercule Poirot. He's very accurate, but he's also quite deadly. He's a bit James Bondish as well, but it's set in historical Russia, and they are really, it's sort of like a cross between Sherlock Holmes and Hercule Poirot. And I think right now I'm looking for sort of light-hearted, because it's been a long time since he's written one of these. So it's been about 10 years since we've had one of these. So I'm really excited to read the next one.
So the book that I'm going to be reading next is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. It's a book that I've amazingly never read, but it's an absolute classic. But I did read his second novel, which was 1,000 Splendid Suns. I read it when I was a teenager, and oh my gosh, it was devastating. Lots of people broken. So I'm really excited to feel all of the emotion that this book is going to bring me.
Michelle?
Amazing. So my book is Deep Light. Apologies for it being back to front, but I promise I'll read it the right way round. So Deep Light is what I've read a lot of her books. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful writer. This, when I actually got this book, I knew nothing about it, but it was a gift from a colleague who has also recommended it to me. And having most beautiful imagery, it's a story of a fantasy world of gods, and something that I'm really, really looking forward to. I just want that little bit of escapism at the moment. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one.
Joey?
Hi, this book is Are We Smart Enough to Know How Smart Animals Are? I've chosen this because, well, this book brings together research studies of social behaviors of animals, such as chimpanzees, dolphins and dogs and things like that, and how the mental states of others. The author discusses how similar the minds of animals and humans are, and for me it's very pleasurable to read, as I enjoy thinking about social experience and social behaviors.
Hi. I've chosen to read The Black Count. What grabbed me was the subtitle, which is Glory, Revolution, Betrayal and the Real Count of Monte Cristo, which is one of my favourite books to read. It's by Tom Rice, who's also written The Orientalists, and it literally is about Alexandre Dumas, who was the inspiration for this book. He's a real lively character, and it's looking at multicultural France at the time of the revolution. So I'm really looking forward to that period of history and escaping from the drabness of today.
My next book is Three Women by Lisa Taddeo, and I first chose this book because it's labelled as a non-fiction book, and its cover clearly says fiction to me, so I was quite intrigued by this. And I guess it can be read as a fictional story. It's researching the stories of these three women, and in 2 cases she actually moved to their towns and settled in as a local resident in order to understand their lives better. So I'm looking forward to finding out what she learned.
Good. Judith?
This is my book, The Founding, by Tracy Hall. Really pleased because I've read her first book, The Familiars. She's a new writer. She's only, I think, 31. And I just love the way she writes, the way she manages to capture It captures her, you get right into the essence of her character, and I hope this is going to be as good as The Familiars.
Sounds good. And Mia?
Yes, so I want to read The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh,
It's a classic that I've never got around to. Margaret Atwood then, The Handmaid's Tale. I love dystopian fiction, and I really like fiction about totalitarianism and the social and political discourse around that, so I think it'll be a good one.
Okay, and my book I want to read next is The Beekeeper of Aleppo. Now, I'm really excited about this book because it's got war, it's got displacement, it's got another country, this is all the things. It starts in a city in Syria. Husband and wife, one's a beekeeper, one ins, and devastation and displacement. I love books like that. I love a bit of devastation. So I'm really, really looking forward to digging my teeth into this. Gifted on World Book Night.